African Hidden Voices launched the Restoring Africa's Spiritual Identity book at the V&A Waterfront in Emmangalisweni, Phecelezi, Cape Town, where over 2,000 individuals had their copies signed by Imboni Dr. Uzwi-leZwe Radebe. Restoring Africa's Spiritual Identity challenges the narrative that religion civilized Africa, revealing instead how it stripped the continent of its true spiritual essence and imposed a false identity.
I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to you for attending the launch of our second book. Your presence here today, especially on a public holiday, speaks volumes about your commitment to embracing and celebrating our rich spiritual heritage. Reflecting on our journey, I am reminded of our first book launch that took place in this very store back in 2023. The title of the book was An Introduction into African Indigenous Spirituality, and it achieved remarkable success, selling out almost immediately. The rapid demand was a clear indication there is a profound hunger among Africans, not only Africans, but the globe, and people across the globe for authentic narratives that reflect the truths of our rich and diverse spiritual heritage. Today we are back at the same store to launch yet another significant book that builds upon the foundation laid by the first one. This new publication, titled Restoring Africa's Spiritual Identity, which has sold more than 2,000 only on pre-orders. So you are looking for a copy, it's finished. As we launch now, it's already finished. You'll wait for the next page. Achieving the bestseller status before it hits the stores aims to delve deeper into the historical journey of the African people and the complexities surrounding the loss of their spiritual identity. The book outlines critical moments in history, specifically when, where, and how Africans lost this essential aspect of themselves. As we gather to celebrate the new work, I invite you all to explore the themes and insights it offers in the hope of deepening our understanding of what it means to reclaim and restore our spiritual identity as Africans. Among the topics explored within these pages are discussions on themes such as Africa had no religion. And again, let's deal with the elephant, maybe Q&A. But many scholars wrote about African traditional religion. We dispel that. And I want to tell you now that these books are not written only on spiritual revelations. They are properly researched. Hence, we have AHV. That is our research institutions. And they are not South African researched. They are researched around Africa and around the globe. We have references. They are researched in a scholarly manner. So we are bringing facts. Africa had no religion. Africa had spiritual systems and spiritual practices. Religion is foreign to Africa. We did not have. There's no such called African religion. The choice of today for this launch is particularly significant, given its historical weight in South African history. It is vital to acknowledge that the events that encapsulated within these days resonate far beyond the borders of South Africa, impacting a vast portion of the African population. Historically, the origins of this date trace back to the Voortrekkers' victory over the Zulu at the Battle of Blood River in 1838, which Sam has indicated, which took place at Ngome in KwaZulu-Natal. The battle symbolized the complex interactions between different cultures and peoples in South Africa's past. However, in a transformative shift towards unity and healing, this date was later renamed the Day of Reconciliation. It is a milestone. It is a milestone because we are speaking of something that should be dominating the headlines, because we are talking about restoring our identity. I thank you.
By launching the book on this significant day, African Hidden Voices sends a powerful message. While others honor their vows and traditions, it is time for Africans to honor their own heritage, reclaim their spiritual identity, and step into a future grounded in authenticity and greatness.
The book launch for me, it comes with mixed reaction. Firstly, it's a very painful experience when we have to challenge the system that we have lived and believed in a long time. So, but I'm happy on the sense that we were so unfortunate to have a person of Imboni's caliber who could fight this orchestrated system that came actually to destroy us. Now, looking at the Bible, the scriptures, and all things that were made for us, in fact, that were actually crafted, it's very difficult to leave them aside. But through Imboni, we were able, because I don't want to lie, sometimes we resist things that we have been with for a long time. So it's very difficult to move out because those people who came actually to install, they were so systematic and they had some time to do it. Now that it has to be taken out, it's quite a difficult thing to do. But thanks to Imboni for having first enlightened us about this, and we really assured that he really has been sent just to deliver us from this. So the book that has been launched today is something tangible. It's a frame of reference. Where when we fight the system, then we have something. Because sometimes you come across a person and say, "What are you doing? Where do you come from with this?" Well, you might have something on mind to respond, but to have a book that will serve as a reference, even when the Imboni is not there, because Imboni cannot be all over, but the book will be all over. People will be able to reflect, to look into the book and refer to the book. That will help us a lot.
It's a very auspicious occasion, specifically about this time and where our country is headed towards, and also I would say an African renaissance in terms of the globe as well. So occasions such as this and this type of scholarly work is crucial for changing not only how we approach social issues, but also how we redefine ourselves as African people. So academia has a lot of, I would say, catching up to do in terms of the scope of this type of work, in terms of incorporating a lot of these epistemologies. So understanding that it's not necessarily just about changing the content, what we teach, but also changing the lens with which we engage with the world. And I think this book is very powerful in doing that. So changing our epistemologies, changing how we look at the world, and how we make sense of the world as African people.
Well, I have an appointment elsewhere in the V&A Waterfront, and I got lost. And so I was stumbling around, and I walked into the bookshop where I saw a collection of people, and I was driven to follow these people and hear what was saying. And then I was fascinated because my understanding is that we are in a deep crisis, a spiritual crisis, not just in Africa, but especially in Africa. And this meeting seemed to me to be addressing that crisis. And it was part of a movement to bring people back to themselves, people who have been pulled away from themselves for hundreds of years by colonialism, by missionaries, by systems that are not their systems, that have oppressed them and taught them to be somebody else than who they are. And when you are taught to be somebody else, it's a natural human development to want to be good at whatever you're taught at. So the better you get, the more unlike yourself you are. And I saw this as a kid growing up in Johannesburg and all my life in South Africa. I've seen people who apparently are doing well because they're getting university degrees and they're earning money, but they're getting further and further away from who they actually are. And this kind of meeting, I think, is speaking exactly that truth, to wipe away the layers of lies that have been taught to African people and reunite them with who they really are. And that is the spirit that guided me here today. I felt it very strongly.
As an African, it's very important for you to have a copy of this book, Restoring Africa's Spiritual Identity. So when you're talking about this book, sithetha ngoba wena as umuntu omnyama ubuyiselwe back kwiingcambu zakho, wonke umuntu mos uneengcambu zakhe. So wena, without a spiritual identity, what exactly are you going to do? Or uzawuyaphi without a spiritual identity? So get yourself a copy of this book, exclusive books, get 250 rand yakho, ubuyele back kwiingcambu zakho. Le ncwadi explains more ngokubaleka nokwazi ukuba wena as an African uneengcambu zakho, and it's important for you to go back kuzingcambu zakho. Thank you.